There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Is Tuesday, 7 p.m. I am Sean Stanley. This is the Squared Circle Digest. And in just a minute, I'm hoping to have the powerhouse in here. We're hoping to have the powerhouse in here in a moment. Let's see if he's ready. I think he's ready. Powerhouse, you there?
Yes, sir. I am here.
I hear you.
Hey!
There he is. Hey, look at that.
But hold on, I gotta run. I for some reason I got like a headache. That's why.
Oh, now they've taken over again. Now he's
hurting. I was trying to like get something before I got here. That's why I was a little bit late. But let me run downstairs for just a second.
You do your thing, man.
Let me go get a lap dance from Liv Morgan, and then come back here and be able to do the stream with you, sir.
You do what you got to do, man. We'll be here when you get back.
All right, give me 1 second. I am really gonna go down over there to get a Tylenol because my head is like beaming. I don't know what's going on, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, light flying on my forehead.
Exactly. All that it's not working. It's just not working.
All right, we'll get back with Frankie. It is Sean Stanley. It is Frankie Frezko. We're the Squared Circle Digest every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Talking some WWE, AEW, and the best of the craziness that is the wrestling world. And today we've got a lot to talk about. You've got, again, we are on Tuesday, so we talk about last week's Dynamite, and then we look ahead to this week's Dynamite. We do not talk NXT on here. That is for Frankie's show, and then I do my own NXT as well on Stanley Media House Network. So, Terry, what's up, my man? Dad, what's going on? Everybody watching us on X, we appreciate you. Again, remember, please, hit the subscribe. Less than 200 to go to get to 1,000. And we will have a Squared Circle Digest pack put together. And we will be giving that out when we get over 1,000. We will be handing that out to the diehards. Of course, we'll get some as well. But we will give away 1 to 2 packs of Squared Circle Digest merchandise. And now, oh, wait, I think Frankie's back. You're back, Frankie? And he is not back. So we'll take them off for a little bit longer here. I don't want to jump into everything that we're going to talk about, but we're going to dive into a lot of what happened on Raw, the Money in the Bank. If you followed the show, we did a Money in the Bank recap. We also did the NXT Heat Wave recap. We also did a Raw recap last night. All of that here on the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel. So please, if you will, go through, listen to it, because we still need some watch hours, but we're closer and closer to 1,000. I appreciate each and every one of you that have tuned in every night and every week with myself and also with Frankie Frezko. So we're going to dive into it right now. I was hoping Frankie would get back here, but we will dive into it. Let's start off with what happened last night. It was a return of returns. It was Mami. Rhea Ripley returns to Monday Night Raw. They scheduled a tag team match. Liv Morgan says she's going to make it up to Dominic Mysterio. Schedule a match for him with his dad and Zelina Vega. They win. Dominic Mysterio finally gets a pin on the one and only Rey Mysterio. And then they're celebrating. Mami comes out. And I want to ask you this. When you heard the Eradicator music, Frankie Frezko, Powerhouse Frankie, how did you feel, my man, when you heard the Eradicator's music kick in?
I was disappointed. I wanted it to be the Joe Henry song.
Oh, my God, please. That's tonight.
Oh, wrong show. Damn.
Yeah, wrong show. Wrong day. Wrong night of the week, man.
It was good, man. I had the feeling she was coming back. They were saying of it on social media, so that's why I was like, yeah.
And then if you watch the show, Damian Priest, I mean, if it wasn't obvious from the phone call, the first one where he's like, where you at? And then it was, well, I want to tell you guys what's going on. And then he's like, hey, you know what? Dom will find out soon enough. And I was like, oh, Rhea's definitely back tonight. And then they had their match, and Dom finally gives in. He kind of hugs her at the end, and then he's like, oh, wait a minute, what have I done? Then he gives in, lowers the head down, like it's a romantic movie. The music hits, and Mami ruins it all. Mami ruins it all. But here's the one thing I want to ask you, man. I've been watching a little bit of the WWE and the way they've handled the social media aspect of this. Have you seen all the angles that they covered? WWE?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm going to go through this real quick. Cat for Life, what's up, my man? And we'll get into the Jey Uso yeeting and hauling ass a little bit later on. So this was, after the show goes off, Rhea Ripley walks by the Dominic Mysterio, and this was Dom chasing her. Now, go ahead.
No, I said I like it. I like we're showing some video. I like it.
So here goes Damian Priest. The whole angle of Raw last night was consequences. Every action has a consequence.
How can they do that to poor Dom?
Here is Liv Morgan's view. That evil smirk is great.
She
and then
She has like that like right now my bald head being China is the same thing she was having in her head.
Oh, it was great. And that was not in the back, by the way. Remember, she hauled ass through the crowd and then stood there at the curtain and watched everything break down. Then this morning, Dominic Mysterio sticks up for himself and sends out this.
Have sexual relations with that woman. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So Dom sends out that there. And let me tell you something, man. We were talking about this, the way WWE has been using the social media aspects of everything. We were talking about the Drew McIntyre one. We've talked about how AEW, to me, started this at the beginning. AEW used a lot of social media. They used their YouTube page to push a lot of stuff and everything else. Since then, it's kind of turned, and WWE has started doing this. Drew McIntyre. You still have the learning tree, which now I get the videos once a week from Mr. Frankie Frezko, the powerhouse there, sends me the motivation of the week. So I'm very happy to be getting that as well. But the way they're using the social media to build up these storylines, to me, is fantastic, man. And I'm here for it.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Am my connection okay?
Yeah. It's you're. I think you're having a couple of issues with the internet. You're not as clear as normal.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. Hold on. Let me see if I could. Let me jump out and jump back in because I'm
right.
noticing that.
No doubt. Welcome into the chat, my man. We're talking about the way WWE is using the social media aspects of it. We've seen it with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Their feud was pretty much started with the social media. Now we watched it last night where Damian Priest has a view of Rhea Ripley showing up. And I think, is Frankie ready? You ready to come back on? Nope, not yet. All right, so then you've got Rhea Ripley coming out. They show that on WWE, of course, social media. And then you get the show from Damian Priest. You also get the look from Liv Morgan. And then, of course, you get the response from Dominic Mysterio, all on the social media avenues of WWE. So I like the fact that WWE is using the social media to their benefits. And now, there he is. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to ruin my day and mess up my picture, but I caught it.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I damn it. Can you hear me better? I
can hear you now, man.
I sound a lot better. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's tripping.
No, it happens. It takes a little while to power up. You got you got the hamsters on the wheel running around over there? Hey, your brother on the treadmill keeping it going?
I think it's because Argentina's about to play in about the next 30 minutes or in the next hour or so.
2 hours, man. 2 hours. I know.
No, it starts at 8, right?
No, 9.
They start at 9?
Yeah, the pre-show starts at 8.
I just hope Canada wins, but we'll see. Anyways, let's talk wrestling. So, yeah, I was a little bit excited about how Dom came out and went and did he did not have any type of sexual relationship with that woman, which is facts.
It is facts. And you've seen a lot of stuff where, I saw people saying out he's trying to re-emulate. I believe a lot of this is generated from the China Eddie Guerrero thing. You know what I'm saying? Again, they're using a lot of this, but with a 2024 flair now. Again, back then it was Eddie with the flowers, China kind of being like, no. This is a little bit more modern to me and a little bit more, what 2024 is really, where now Dom's trying to beg for forgiveness. Damian kind of sets him up. I'm trying to figure out too, where does this stand with the whole Judgment Day end of this? Because now you've seen Liv's put her cards out there now. You know what she's been doing. She's helped Finn win the tag team titles. You've got Finn, JD as tag team champions. You've got Carlito now as whatever he is. You've got Dom, who's in the middle. Really, he's the odd man out in all of this because if Rhea doesn't want him, Liv was just using him. Dom is on his own because Damian just threw gas on the fire. Your boy Dom all by himself, buddy. Sink or swim, baby. Sink or swim, Dom.
But he's not by himself, sir. He has Liv Morgan. He just has to kind of wiggle his way around with two women. That's what he needs to do.
It's not happening. Liv play when she turns around. Tell me this right here is a woman that says, I'm Dom's woman. Watch this. Watch the face at the end. Tell me that face wants Dom Mysterio.
Well, she knows that she's been, fooling around. So maybe she isn't 100% sold by being Dom's girl, but still, Dom has that charisma and those looks and that mullet that I think he could win her over.
Oh yeah, the stash. The stash is definitely going to be the winner.
Oh, the stash.
The
I love that stash.
Baby. No, but I'm very interested to see where this goes now that Rhea's back. I really am, because
True.
I honestly felt like Judgment Day was going to end, a few times in between while Rhea's been gone. And it seems like every time it looks like it's going to end, then it kind of picks up steam. But this is going to be very interesting and see where it goes from there.
Well, did we talk about Money in the Bank? Did we talk about that?
No, we haven't talked about that yet. We're getting into the top topics of Raw first here real quick.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just too excited. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, because and then you had well, actually, you know what? Let's do this. You're right. Let's dive into Money in the Bank, because then that'll kind of lead into the conversation of Raw. The big topic was Rhea returning on Raw. The other stuff kind of feeds off what happened at Money in the Bank and SmackDown.
Yes.
SmackDown was kind of uneventful, but it was leading up to the pay-per-view, and then also it was the funeral of Sika. So a lot of people were not there. Jey Uso ended up going to Toronto to be part of the kickoff. So did Naomi, because they were in the Money in the Bank match. Everybody else, I think, was pretty much, at the funeral. And at first, I didn't realize the funeral was on Friday, because I was kind of like, man, I got the video at the end of Solo, but I was like, man, I really thought there was going to be more of a presence of the bloodline leading into the pay-per-view, and then when it wasn't there, it was kind of the promo. I was like, And then I started seeing the video, the pictures leak. I think it was Saturday morning, of like Paul Heyman and of course Roman Reigns and everybody. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Was there a video of Roman Reigns kind of like dancing or something during the funeral? Yeah.
Well, it was like again, they do like a celebration, or I don't know what they call it, because they celebrate the life of, I know everybody has different wording for how they do it. So it was kind of like, he was doing the dance, Samoan dance there. And yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to see where this goes, man, because of, again, they had all this in the works. You knew Sika was sick, and then now it really adds a realness to everything, because it happened in Madison Square Garden. It was the I think he calls it the Olafala, was the lei that the tribal chief wears, and that was placed on Roman Reigns by his father, who had just passed away, and then Jacob Fatu puts that on Solo Sikoa as the wise man has been, put away in Madison Square Garden. Fast forward, this SmackDown, it was Solo Sikoa at the end saying, Cody Rhodes, you will acknowledge me. Roman Reigns is not man enough. You lost our legacy, our family legacy. And if you want to be man enough, come take it from me. Paraphrasing, there. And then we head into Money in the Bank. Yeah. And I thought it was a good, solid pay-per-view. There were some things that we can discuss. Where do you want to start with Money in the Bank? Where would you like to start?
Let's go with the Money in the Bank. Did they get it right? Did they get the briefcases right? Did they make the right decision by giving it to Drew McIntyre and him cashing it in? And did they get it right by giving it to Tiffany Stratton?
Yes, I believe what they did is they flip-flopped the way they did it last year. If you remember last year, the women's didn't cash in the night of Money in the Bank, but they cashed in a lot earlier than the men's did because, of course, Damian Priest had it almost all the way to
He did
the Money in the Bank. This time, it looks like Tiffany is going to be the one holding onto the briefcase for a little bit longer. And look, you give it to Jey Uso and he holds on to it and he cashes it in win. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's like, oh, they wasted the Money in the Bank briefcase. But I think by wasting it, you made this feud that was already ignited and engulfed in flames even hotter.
I think the difference between last year and this year was that the King of the Ring wasn't playing a big part in it. I think that's why they did it. I think that's why they basically said, yo, we can't have them, both of them kind of clash with one another.
You know they're not cashing in at SummerSlam. Whoever, even if like Jey Uso wins it, is he cashing in at SummerSlam on whoever? I don't see that happening. And to be honest, I believe Jey Uso is going to get worked into this whole bloodline thing somehow. So now you know, and then who else do you put it on? I know Gable was thrown out there, but if you put it on Gable, then you've got the whole Wyatt thing going on with him and the family thing. And so is he cashing it in right away? Is he holding on to it? I just think this way it was like, okay, the men's Money in the Bank is done. We don't have to worry about it anymore. That's it.
I think they should
added to another element because for the third time, CM Punk has screwed Drew McIntyre.
I think Andrade El Idolo should have won the Money in the Bank.
Look, man, going into that, I think that match elevated Andrade and Carmelo.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were okay. We all knew Drew McIntyre was going to win it. We all knew who was going to catch it.
It was Drew or Jay. That was the two that I saw winning it. That was it. And the only reason I would say Drew didn't win was if they had CM Punk cost Drew during the Money in the Bank.
The only way
At some point, CM Punk was going to screw Drew.
The only way I figured that Drew wasn't going to win the Money in the Bank is if that wasn't the first match of Money in the Bank. But as soon as they put us the first match, both you and me agreed. We said, hey, look, you have to put it as the first match. That way he has time to later down cash it in. So as soon as I saw it was the very first match, I was like, okay, it's set for it. Drew McIntyre's going to win this.
Yeah, but what threw me off was the way they did it, because then you did that and you didn't put Seth and Damian last. You still had the 6-man, which to me was like, oh, somebody's coming back. And we kind of discussed this a little bit off camera. And, you know, to me, WWE made the decision that Solo pinning Cody was the moment that needed to be remembered as the last thing going off the air. Whether you want to think it's the right decision or not, looking at the way it's going to SummerSlam, Gunther's already got the match with the heavyweight champion. So whoever wins that is automatically going to SummerSlam no matter what. But now you have set up to where I believe Solo Sikoa, again, if you watch it, as he's about to hit the Samoan spike on Cody Rhodes, he says, "You will acknowledge me." And he hits him and then he pins him. And he said in the interview, Cody Rhodes, "You will acknowledge me."
I don't think they should have ended it like that. That's just me. I think they should have dropped hints of like Roman. Like, okay, I get it. Solo won. I like that. Obviously, you got to bring him up because he has to be like, you know, So he's the evil guy, right? The heel that's supposed to take over, right? And then obviously you're gonna push that for SummerSlam between him and Cody.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you wanna, kind of feed it to the fans. Hey, look,
You're making Solo grow.
bigger.
You're making it
Yeah.
bigger than again, he just did.
But
Think about it. He just did, in not so many terms, what Roman couldn't do this time. And remember, when Roman beat Cody, who was the one that helped him?
when Roman beat
Cody at the last WrestleMania. It was Solo.
Yes, it was. He was trying to help him. I will say this. If I wasn't going to tune into SummerSlam, I think it sucked the ending. If you're looking at the longevity, it makes sense. But if you're not looking longevity, let's say you're the casual fan and you look at that ending, you're gonna be a little bit disappointed because you probably wanted more.
Do you tune into SmackDown to see if more happens?
I don't know if people would tune in because you could look at it both ways. You could look at it as like, they let me down so much that you know what, I don't even want to tune in anymore. Or if you're into the story and you're into Roman coming back, you could be like, wait, hold on a second. I want to know what happens next. So you could see it both ways. For me, like, okay, the reason I say is because I spoke to different people. I had asked other people. I said, what did you think about Money in the Bank? Did you like it? And a lot of my friends were saying, bro, it was boring.
Yeah.
And I was like,
they were
really?
expecting Roman. They were expecting Jimmy.
No.
A lot of people were expecting something more than what happened. And if
I wasn't expecting Roman.
No. Okay, let me ask you this.
I asked you.
When we sat here and we talked about the Money in the Bank, right? We sat here and we said they could do all these different things.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They did none of them.
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing.
Terrible.
And that's where people talk themselves into it. And that's what I said I love about this is the fact that, okay, they did nothing. And if I want to be like, that butthurt person, be like, oh, it's boring because they didn't do what I wanted them to do. But they still made it interesting and they still have drawn out the storylines to where they've kept it interesting. It didn't drop off any.
I mean, it didn't drop off any, but
Money in the Bank.
You want the wow moment.
It's not one of the big four, though.
But you want the wow moment, Sean.
The wow moment was Solo pinning Cody.
No, it was weak because you have the whole CM Punk interfering and everything. So that was a wow moment. You have the whole, I guess the match between the ladders and the Money in the Bank ladder matches, which were exciting. You had the ladders and all that stuff, and you end the show with just Solo pinning Cody.
Your heavyweight champion was pinned by the guy on the show the night before that ended the show saying, I will do what Roman couldn't do for the family. I will make you acknowledge me, Cody Rhodes.
He didn't make him acknowledge him.
He pinned him. You don't think Cody's going to acknowledge him and say something about him on SmackDown?
No. I mean, he's going to acknowledge him as far as like, oh, damn, I want to go one-on-one against
Exactly. It set up another part of the story. Then what's going to happen ultimately is, which I believe, and this is where I'm going to head with all this, at SummerSlam, it's going to be Roman Reigns taking out Solo somehow.
Oh, yeah.
You bring Roman back at a top 4 pay-per-view. And this is the only one, I believe, that's going to be in the United States. This one's in Cleveland. Every other one's been, well, not WrestleMania, but, when you look at the other pay-per-views, they're sending all of the smaller ones out of the country. They're doing international shows with them now.
Man, did you fans really like that ending? Look, man, I didn't. I thought it was.
I'm not saying that a lot of the fans did because I just real quick polled 10. I would say 7 of them were not really happy with it.
Can we put a poll up? Is that doable right now during the live stream right now? Can we, or is it too late?
I would have to jump on my other computer and I'm not logged in. Oh wait, yeah,
no,
no, I'm not logged in.
Because no, that's fine. I was just asking because I really want to get their opinion. I got a lot of people saying that they weren't happy with that ending, and I said,
if you're watching this on YouTube, jump in there and say, were you happy? Yay or nay? Were you happy with the finish? Or with not the finish? Were you happy with the way Money in the Bank ended? Is that the way to put it? Or you want to say the finish?
Yeah. No, the way Money in the Bank ended. Because if you look at it, you had to be on X to see that they had like a special moment for Kevin Owens off the air where he obviously hugged Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes because of his
No Doubt was upset. I remember No Doubt was upset about the ending.
Because I wasn't happy with
it. On X, he was not happy with the ending.
I was a big baby about it. Yeah, I told you. You see, I that goes to show you.
Yeah, but again, you got people. I know half the people on my timeline are the Cody crybabies, and they were upset that Cody got pinned. Cody got pinned by Solo.
Wait, there's still Cody crybabies out there?
Oh my goodness, man!
I thought they went away.
No way, they don't go away. It's the Cody Army, whatever you want to call them. My goodness,
damn, like the two years
still.
They're strong, like the 2 years. I had no idea.
This is the funny part about it, man. This is what I got on my timeline. Damian Priest screwed up. Cody shouldn't have been pinned. Jacob Fatu no-sold Randy Orton's DDT. Those were the top 3 things that were trending on my timeline.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, Jesus Christ, it was a good pay-per-view, man. EA Minutes, what's up, my man? Hey.
Yeah, you know what I love about EA Minutes? He always third host is here.
In the house.
EA Minutes, were you satisfied with that ending of Money in the Bank? No Doubt already said he wasn't. I wasn't.
I'm telling you what he's going to say. EA Minutes is going to say, damn, it didn't pop up before.
It says, it does not seem like Cody is always being made into a fool. I'm still irked by that. Yeah, it does look like they always try to make Cody like a weak link. And then kind of like Zammy. He's always like, hey, like Zammy is painted
link.
Because they always have him like falling down, and then he's
the baby face. That's what you do with the baby face. You fall down 9 times, you stand up 10.
I guess, yeah.
It's a story of pro wrestling.
I guess. My thing is that when
you do matches, you can do different things.
My thing is which probably is going to happen, when Roman comes back, is he going to supersede Cody again? And I think he will when it comes to like the star power. I really do.
Definitely he will.
But you're not supposed to, because he's not the champion. It's supposed to be Cody.
But that's when I think what they're going to end up doing is flipping the switch on Randy Orton. So that becomes the focal point. So you'll have the Civil War. Roman coming back is going to supersede anything. I don't care who the hell is the champion. The fact that he's been gone for so long, as soon as his music hits, oh my God.
And you want to know what's also a little bit kind of like, I had a lot of friends tell me, is that it's starting to become very predictable, a couple of these things that are happening. Like we all knew that, like you and me were like, we knew Tiffany was going to win. After we saw Smackdown doing that flip, we were like, oh man, they're showcasing her. She's going to win. Obviously, I went with Lyra Valkyria just to be different, but there was no way she was going to win that. And then you had Drew, which made obvious sense because he basically went on Monday night and said, hey, I'm going to leave as the champion. So if he was going to leave as the champion, obviously he was going to cash it that same day. So, okay, perfect. So you're cashing it that same day. We know he's going to win Money in the Bank. And we all kind of had the feeling that CM Punk was going to interfere some way, somehow, stopping him from becoming the champion, right? The only small little twist that we were like, oh, okay, what is this? Is obviously Seth Rollins going ahead and saying, hey, I'm pissed because you screwed me over. But then you saw how they kind of corrected it on Monday Night Raw, which I thought I didn't like that.
But how did they correct it?
Didn't you? Okay, so when Damian Priest was talking to Seth,
Oh, with the whole thing about the
Damian is like,
gentleman's
hey,
agreement.
and then
But that didn't take away from the CM Punk Seth Rollins part of it.
no, it didn't.
Because
No,
Seth Rollins said, "Hey, your actions have consequences."
that is true. That segment was good. That was a very interesting segment. That was fun. I like the fact I still like CM Punk over Seth Rollins, but I felt like they were trying to push Seth over CM Punk, but that's fine. You guys know I'm a CM Punk fan, so I love CM Punk.
Well, it's another thing to throw a little bit more, another branch in there from the Money in the Bank. They did a couple of them last night. If you looked at it, Zoe Stark attacks Io Sky, and then in the back, she's like, you took away my chance at everything last night. So now that's why, at least they made it make sense. Instead of just the three of them attacking Damage Control for no damn reason, it was, no, you've taken everything away from me. So now I went after you. Seth confronts CM Punk because CM Punk screwed Seth in the process of the blind rage of taking out Drew McIntyre and ruining his chance. He also cost Seth Rollins his chance at the title.
Yeah. So they have their moments when it's not predictable, but the majority of stuff is predictable. Let's go to a couple more things. Okay, let's say Braun Breaker. A lot of us thought Braun Breaker might win the championship. A lot of us said no, Braun Breaker is not. I had Zami winning. Obviously, Zami defended his belt. What happened yesterday? Same thing all over again. What ended up happening? Braun Breaker getting that camera angle where he runs and does a spear. Predictable. He's been doing that the last couple of weeks. Okay. Now let's talk about the Wyatt Six. Okay, the Wyatt Six. What's the same thing? Here comes the smoke. Here comes them messing with Chad. Here comes the same little box. Let me give them the tape. Tape is being played. Boom. Now they did a little twist at the end, obviously, with Adam Pearce and
Bo Dallas.
Exactly. That was the only little thing, but nothing. Like they had not changed that. Let me give you the tape. Let me give you the tape. Let me give you the tape. It was, at this point I was like, and I remember I told you this. I was like, man, they need to. I hope they switch it up. Like I don't mind doing it maybe once.
The thing is, like it doesn't have to just be like, oh, we want this. We want. So what? They just do everything you want.
No,
your fans text in what you want done, and we'll do it next segment on Raw. What the fans want.
We're not gonna.
They're telling a story. Like
they are.
All of a sudden, you saw all these guys as Uncle Howdy. You saw them as and now all of a sudden it's like Bo Dallas in the flesh. Not Uncle Howdy. Bo Dallas in the flesh. Remember they said. Go ahead.
Look what A Minutes said, and that's exactly the way I feel.
They need to do something. It's not getting boring because if you sat there and you actually, again, you guys want everything to happen in. Okay, boom, they bring out the Wyatt Six. Then what? What do they do after that?
They could have switched it up.
You have to tell a story and
no.
Background and what
they're doing a good job.
This and that, like
they're doing a good job with when Bo Dallas is getting interviewed and doing that. I like that. I have no problem with that. I just think they got to mix it up a little bit from time to time. Like
mix it up. What do you want
like instead of coming in every it's been 3 Monday Night Raws where they have literally done the exact same thing. Where here comes Nikki Cross, turns around and gives the box to the commentator.
3 different videos, and each video got different.
Come on, man.
Each video at the end he says, "Oh, we're sick. I'll show you sick." Then it's Chad Gable telling, "Hey, that was for me. That video was at me. This and that and that and that." Adam Pearce opens his door. There's Bo Dallas sitting there in the flesh, not as Uncle Howdy, not as anything else. So what does that mean?
I don't know, man. Like
because now if you want, again, they said that we don't want this to be supernatural. We want this to be something that we can make work on in wrestling and on TV. So now you have the Bo Dallas in the flesh. Is he controlling everything? Do we start getting Dexter Lumis back in the flesh? Is he always going to wear the buzzard? Does Eric Rowan always wear the rabbit? Or does Eric Rowan start walking around regular? Do they transform into them?
See,
there's other questions that you can be asking, but instead everybody's like, we want the Wyatt Six to wrestle. What happens once they wrestle? It's the same thing that happened with Bray Wyatt. Everybody's like, oh, we want to see Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy does a jump off onto LA Knight in the Mountain Dew match. And then it was like, well, now what? What do we do next?
Look. Again, I like the concept. I just think they need to mix it a little bit. That's all. More than just the regular tapes. And what happened is in 3 Mondays in a row, they've had the same concept. Hopefully next Monday, I don't see it again, especially since Bo Dallas was in the office.
It was Bo Dallas getting, tireder and tireder of talking. And then he said, you want sick? We'll show you sick. And what is the next thing you see on the TV? Adam Pearce opens the door and there's Bo Dallas.
But you could have done it. And again, I'm just being nitpicky here because you could have done it differently. Okay, instead of like doing the video on Chad Gable in his match, you could have easily done Chad Gable walking backstage, and then they do the whole thing. Nikki Cross pops out, and then instead of handing the videotape to Michael Cole, hey, I hand it to Adam Pearce, and then Adam Pearce is like, what the hell is this? It just spices things up because then it's different. It's if we do something consistently.
Yes, but it's always supposed to have been, remember everything that happened on the McAfee show, right? You lied, all that stuff. It was supposed to be McAfee.
Yeah, but the 2 months there was
now he's back to the show.
It didn't work out, those two. So I can't use that same concept that you're saying because he wasn't even there the 2 shows. He was out. So that already throws that type of storyline out of there.
No, because the whole thing is the VHS tape, which is what is on the VHS tape.
Well, wait. AMN says, I think Frankie wants to show some exposure with the other White Sick, like the short Eric Rowe. And I did want that. And I also wanted them to go ahead and start. You don't have to. Like, I wanted them to include it in NXT, and I wanted them to include it on SmackDown. They needed to because when they go and they say, "Hey, we've been forgotten," and you're trying to tell a story of where all these guys were. Come on, man, be slick about it. Show how these guys, the ones that were in NXT, you could do a little glimpse. You don't have to do it every NXT show either, but you could do it, and it ties in. And not only that, you're gonna get more eyeballs in NXT. You are, and it's only gonna help the NXT.
How many things can you do on NXT? You're trying to showcase the talent that's already there. You're trying to work with TNA, and now let's throw the Wyatt Six in. Maybe they can take out Joe Hendry.
No, they're not gonna take out Joe Hendry because they don't.
What the hell are we doing?
They can't take out Joe Hendry because
they
believe in Joe Hendry. They believe in Joe Hendry.
Let's be AEW and throw 7 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Why do you think that by doing more is worse? It's not always worse. And I know that saying less is better or something like that. But there's nothing wrong with like doing one episode where you're like, oh crap, the Y6. They went and they did Joe Gacy in the Y6 over there in NXT. That would and it ties to it because he was NXT. It makes little nuggets like that make sense. And again,
ultimately, but not right now. Right now, their focal point, if everybody is right, is Chad Gable. But last night they said nothing about Chad Gable in the video. The lights turned out during him and Jey Uso.
Well, that's what he thinks. He thinks it was being everything about him. Everything about him.
I mean, yes, they've made things and said you've turned on your family, and they've made references to where it could be Chad Gable, it could be Jey Uso, it could be anybody that's had a family and sold them out. But it's like, I don't know what, like, you want them to be on every show, but every show already has storylines. Like, that's what Raw has that makes it different.
I guess
they have the Wyatt Six right now.
I mean, they had the Judgment Day. They have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things.
Testament with Cap for Life asked about.
They have the CM Punk Drew McIntyre drama that's going on over there. So
and they have like a 3-hour show.
Yeah. But again, a different perspective. You are okay with them just keeping it on Monday Night Raw. Myself, I'm the type of person that I wish it would have bleed a little bit into NXT and SmackDown. That's all. It's just a little bit. It doesn't have to go every show, just a little bit. And the reason I say this was because when they were doing the Wide Six at the beginning and they were doing these CR codes and all this stuff, they were doing it on SmackDown at least. So I don't know if they were, I don't think they were doing it on NXT, but it would have been kind of cool if they would have been able to like kind of bleed into those other shows. Not 100%, but just, you know, every once in a blue moon, because then you'll catch an eye. You'll keep people. Look, what tends to happen. I know you mentioned, hey, NXT has a lot of stuff going on.
But there's also
there's some shows in NXT when it's just
eggs.
a regular. It's just regular NXT, and that's it. Like it's just regular matches, and there's nothing special on that day. You understand me? They do.
Yeah, but there has
like
been
that.
little things that have happened where they had Huskus underneath a wheel, the doll, when Chad Gable was talking backstage. Like there's been other things that happened. They haven't gone anywhere. But I mean, it's things that people have picked up on.
Look what he said. Look what EA Minute said. Remember the time King was scary when he was unmasked? I hope they can do the same thing with the Y6. Unpredictable attacks. Yes, that's a very good, strong term. Unpredictable attacks. I like that.
Exactly. But who have they attacked since they laid everybody out in the backstage area?
They haven't attacked anybody.
Exactly.
Just Chad Gable, apparently, but they haven't attacked
They haven't even, they laid him out. He was there. Like, I don't know. He's the big wig that everybody saw on the thing. But they've never said the producers that were laid out in that back skirt there. They had like people that thought maybe it was Gunther laid out. Some people thought, I think it was Ricochet or Cedric or one of the, you know, one of them were laid out there.
Yeah.
Like they've never done anything more.
Yeah, and well, they laid out those two other security guards last night.
Yeah, they always lay out the ones by the desk so that Nikki Cross can hand because the quote unquote security that WWE hires is top notch.
I guess. But, you know, I mean, we'll see where they go with this. I mean, maybe
I
they'll
like
change
the
it up.
story that they're telling. I don't think they.
I thought it's okay. I just wanted a little bit.
My problem is like everybody wants them to attack, and it's like, okay, let me understand one thing here. When they did attack, it was at the very end of the show, right?
Uh-huh.
So how do you, what attack should they do now during the show? Like, what's the attack they should do?
Well, they
then my
have to
question
figure
is,
out
why, and who do they attack?
Yeah, they're gonna have to figure out who it is. Like they have to make it very clear because apparently it's Chad Gable, but then Chad Gable is kind of like confusing because Chad Gable, like yesterday when he was saying, "Hey, that was directed to me," what is he talking about? That nothing.
And then he said, "I'm going to take care of it myself." And then if you watched it during the Zoe Stark and their interview, he's back there talking to the Creed brothers and Ivy Now, and the Creed brothers are dressed like Chad Gable.
They are. But I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do Chad Gable and the Creed brothers and Ivy Now versus the White Six? Is that where you're going with this?
This is where I'm saying, like with the story, like once you put them in the ring, the story's done.
No.
The build up of the story is yes, because once they get into a ring, after they wrestle for the first time, everybody always makes the decision of like, okay, this is gonna work, or okay, this is not.
And you don't want to know why I don't think it's gonna be done, because if the storytelling in WWE is smart, their whole concept was about family. And what do you have right now? You have Cody Rhodes, which is related to family. You have Solo Sikoa and the whole bloodline. That's family. You have obviously Chad Gable. That's family. You could relate a lot of things into this. There was a part in the Bo Dallas video that I honestly thought for a split second, I thought I had seen Roman Reigns, but it was Bo Dallas's face. But I was like, man, that would have been interesting if maybe at one point in time the White Six start coming after people and their relationship to their families. Like,
No,
who
I
they
think
feel
ultimately that's going to be the thing.
so then
They're
that's
going to
why
be after everybody that has done wrong to them and what they consider the
so
family.
so then if you feel that way, you can't go and say, hey, once they wrestle, it's over. No, there's plenty to talk about these guys and still build them up no matter what. And I think
Come on.
obviously
And once
it's
you watch somebody wrestle, you automatically assume whether look, once you have Eric Rowan and them come in the ring, unless they come in like, freaking storm busters and just annihilate everybody, are you really going to be scared of them anymore?
it depends. Some people were scared of Bray Wyatt for a while.
Yes, and Bray Wyatt did the thing where the lights cut off and he disappeared, and the lights cut off and he's there, and he's all the supernatural stuff, which is what they said they don't want to do with these guys.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out where to go with this.
And again, I think Bo Dallas is going to start becoming like the cult leader.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been.
And then people are going to mess with Bo, and then he's going to call on the family to take care of him.
Yeah, I think what they should do is that they should not have Bo Dallas wrestle.
Yeah.
But he should have the wrestle.
Again, that's why right now you're starting to understand the character of Bo Dallas and how he talks about the family. And nobody wanted us, and I wanted them, and we took them in, and we've made them this, and now we're sick, and now you want to see sick? Here we are. And then the scene isn't, after everything is done, you don't see Uncle Howdy. No, you see Bo Dallas in the flesh.
Okay. I get it.
But that's where I'm wondering, like, now when they start doing this, Eric Rowan is the rabbit or whatever. I forget the character's name, so I apologize. But now all of a sudden next week, you see Eric Rowan leading up against, I don't know, a wall or something as Chad Gable's going to the ring. The Chad Gable walks by and walks right by Eric Rowan, who's just standing there leaning up against the thing or something like that. Does that make you think?
Not really.
Okay.
Not me. Not really. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how this whole Chad Gable is related to the thing. And I know the whole family concept and all that stuff, but they got to kind of like put it all together. I don't know. And then the whole thing with the Creed brother and all that kind of threw it off, because I know he's trying to get protection and stuff, but like, where did this all arise from? I don't know. It's just, I was even doing homework. I was going on YouTube, on X. I was like, was there somewhere where Chad Gable messed with Bray Wyatt or with any of these people?
It's Chad Gable, man. I think the whole Chad Gable thing is to throw everybody off.
But they've been going at it for 3 weeks straight with him.
Yes, and it happens when Chad Gable's wrestling. It happens when Jey Uso's there, except for the 1 week. Jey Uso wasn't there. But every other time, it has been Jey and it's been Chad. And they could have showed their hands at Money in the Bank, and they did neither.
No, they
Nothing.
didn't. They didn't. But now, let's talk about this whole Seth Rollins CM Punk situation, right? Because Seth Rollins and CM Punk had their one-on-one. They took a couple of jabs at each other.
Yes, they did.
And CM Punk says, "Hey man, my this guy's running around with a bracelet, and that's personal." And then Seth Rollins is like, my not being able to win the championship is personal.
He said, you handling your business messed up my business.
Correct, because his whole personal business is winning the championship, and CM Punk's personal business is the whole Drew McIntyre saga that they have right now. So, in your opinion, SummerSlam, are we getting a 3-way between these 3 guys?
No. Got to be Punk against Drew, but depending on how they work this out, does Seth get involved?
So you're saying you're going to leave Seth off of SummerSlam?
I'm not saying he's off of SummerSlam.
So then who would he wrestle?
You figure it out.
I don't know.
Why do you throw him in the 3? Like, I mean,
Because
That's
now
what
he's
wasn't-
pissed.
Yeah, but he's pissed at CM Punk. So what? It's 2-on-1 against Punk because Seth has got no skin with Drew. It would be Seth against Punk and Drew against Punk.
But eventually, Drew can go ahead and get upset at Seth Rollins because Seth is the one that wants to hit Punk, and then Drew is like, "No, I want to hit him," and then they start beefing like that as well. So you could work.
I'm not saying they've got 4 weeks to build something up to make it make more sense, but as of right now, I would say no because it makes no sense. You've suspended a guy. Drew McIntyre threatened his family on TV. Like this is personal. This isn't like, hey, we need a match for these two. No, to me, I would not be surprised if I know he said I'm not going to do any of these style of matches, but if this isn't like a cage match so nobody can run or something like that, like this can't just be, ladies and gentlemen, here's Drew McIntyre. Ladies and gentlemen, here's CM Punk. Okay, wrestle. No.
That's why it makes sense for it to be a 3-way.
No, it doesn't though. Like
you involved Seth Rollins into it now. You involved Seth Rollins by him going out.
CM Punk took away something from Seth Rollins.
Exactly. So the story,
but he didn't bring Seth into this whole thing. If I'm Seth, I hope Drew kicks your ass, and then when you're done getting your ass kicked and you're starting to get up, I'm going to come in and curb stomp you. And leave your ass laying at the end of at SummerSlam, not at the end.
The problem is that I see here is you could do Drew versus CM Punk. That's perfectly fine, but you're gonna leave Seth Rollins out of SummerSlam.
Why do you have to leave him out? Why can't he be on commentary like what they did with CM Punk at WrestleMania?
Well,
like, I mean, you don't have to put him in a match
because Seth is not hurt. CM Punk was in commentary because CM Punk got hurt. That's the only reason why. Yeah, remember, the whole Royal Rumble wasn't even supposed to go this route.
You could have just left them off.
Yeah,
you involved them. You involve somebody. Yeah, yes, he's not hurt, but you involve him in there so then you can have things where Drew throws CM Punk over the table and he lands on Seth. Seth gets pissed. It works up more for ultimately becoming that. I just think you've invested all this crap. Drew and him have been firing shots all through social media, and now it's finally at the point to where you're going to get the one-on-one match, and now we throw Seth Rollins in because he doesn't have a match.
Well, again, you make it seem like he doesn't have a match. I said that the reason they would throw him in there is because now the people who make the story included now a beef between Seth and CM Punk.
He's included in CM Punk's story, not the CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre story.
Yes.
So now this gives Drew McIntyre his next out.
But this also gives CM Punk 2 rivals at the same time who want to.
Technically, they could have thrown Damian Priest in there as well to give him 3, which I thought they should have done also. Because again, Damian was a man of his word and said Judgment Day would not interfere, but he still got help. Still got help.
He did.
From CM Punk. You could be mad at him there. Now you've got 3 different stories you'd go with, and one would be the champion.
That's a good thing. Well, why not a fatal 4-way? But the thing is,
Gunther's playing versus Damian.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And that's another thing.
That's also why I believe at right now they didn't include Damian in there because they got to do the Damian Gunther story. And I believe if they threw CM Punk in there, ultimately everybody would want to see CM Punk against Damian for the title. I believe that would overshadow everything, which wouldn't be a bad thing because then Drew cost CM Punk the title.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's say this. Let's play this.
You've left your story open for a long time, man.
CM Punk versus Drew makes sense. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre makes sense. And then Seth Rollins, remember with that whole, that, yeah, I'll give you a title and all that stuff. What ends up happening is they find a way to include Seth Rollins in the Gunther match and make it a 3-way between Damian, Gunther, and Seth Rollins.
That's not a bad thing. The only thing that I look at that and again, looking at the storyline of it all, is you said when you win the King of the Ring, you get a title match. You didn't say whether it was going to be a one-on-one title match, but now you've set the precedence where we're just going to add people into the match. You know what I'm saying? It's like I guess technically you could do it at the WrestleMania. You win the Royal Rumble, and we're going to give you. They did it with Roman against Brock with Seth when he cashed in. So, I mean, it's not a bad idea there. Maybe Seth comes out and says, "Hey, you said anytime, any place after Gunther. Well, how about during Gunther?" Or so I don't know how they word it or whatever.
That could be a good. But my question is, can that Gunther Damian Priest fight actually hold up as like a match that people want to actually be invested on in SummerSlam?
Guys beating the shit out of each other. Gunther match
weak. I mean, if anything, it'll probably be the first match of the night.
Yeah, I would make it the first match of the night. That or Bayley against Nia.
Well, now you got Tiffany involved in that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you did Bayley Nia squashes Bayley, Tiffany comes out, cashes Money in the Bank, boom, title change right there. First match of the night on SummerSlam. Tiffany Stratton, your new champion.
You could do that. That's why I don't mind Tiffany winning the Money in the Bank. I didn't mind.
I think they might keep it going a little longer just because of the way they did the men's. But at the same time, like they're rolling without these briefcases. Like they don't need the briefcases. You could have Tiffany cash it in and be gone with it. Off to the races, done. Both Money in the Banks are done, and now you're just rolling through.
Yeah, that's true. And
because you haven't even had Charlotte or Becky or Bianca hasn't been in the picture yet. There's some I've heard stories. I don't know how true they are about Jade. So there's different things that you haven't even put any of your main event women in the picture. All of this has been done. Bayley, I guess, technically is one of your main event. But think about what they're doing right now with the women's roster with no Charlotte, no Becky. Bianca and Jade are being used as a tag team. Like it's changed a lot. The women's scene has changed a lot in WWE.
Yeah, I get it. We'll see. Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to WWE?
I think we covered everything. I mean, the Jey Uso thing's going to be interesting. I loved last night. The lights go out. He wanted to get his last yeet in. He looks at the camera. The lights going like, yeet, and he's out. Again, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, is he going to be that person or isn't he? And then, it's going to be interesting to see how far they go. Hold on a minute. Who's this? Finn Sammy says Haley's reign has been underwhelming. I think he meant Bayley's reign.
Yeah, it's probably means Bayley.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has been.
It has been.
It's just been Naomi here and left and right, and then that's it.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that she might have an injury. Bayley.
I don't think so.
Because she's staying so not that she's a high flyer anyways, but everything has been grounded.
Finn Sammy, you're right, sir. It is about Joe Henry and NXT. God damn it. He should win the NXT belt too. We'll talk about that.
Ethan Page.
But let me know when we're gonna talk AEW because I have something I have to show you guys.
Let's go, AEW, baby. Let's go.
All right, so hold on.
I want to get done a little bit earlier because we do have Argentina playing. I do want to watch NXT as it's going on.
All right.
So
let me go. Give me 2 seconds, okay? Give me 2 seconds. I got something I got to show you guys.
I'll do this right now. So make sure you please follow me on Instagram, TikTok, X, everywhere. Sean_Stanley11. Subscribe, Stanley Media House Network, YouTube channel, Facebook. I got a group page also, so please go there. Just under 200 to go on YouTube. So if you got any friends that like wrestling, you might want to like what we do, have them sign up, hit the subscribe button for me, help me out. Apparently, Powerhouse Frankie Frezko is going to do something here. It's AEW time on the Squared Circle Digest. And, oh, look at that. Just like their ratings, our ratings are starting to drop already. Buddy. Must mean we're going to talk AEW. Our ratings are dropping.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. So check this out.
All right. Here we go.
I got something. It came in the mail.
Oh, boy.
Let's see.
Is this your official contract with AEW? Tony Khan has signed Frankie Frezko?
Hold on, sir. I gotta get it. I have to get it.
All
Framed.
right. All right.
Let's see. Let's see. It's here. I'm gonna unveil it. Let's see. There it is, sir.
Nice.
Can you see it?
Nice. Yeah, the devil.
Yes, sir.
MJF. I like it.
Not bad, right?
Nice picture, man.
Yeah, I know. MJF right there, sir. The devil.
Did you get it signed? Is it signed or is it just a picture?
It's not signed.
Okay. All right.
We gotta get it signed when we go to Orlando for their.
Yeah, we're there for them.
But yeah,
All right, where do you want to start with? Or you want to start with MJF on?
let's talk about it. Let's talk about Wednesday. How he destroyed the crap out of
Daniel Garcia. Let's build him up like he's a star, and then we're just gonna do that because we're gonna kick his ass. We're gonna kick his ass.
Did you think it was kind of like too graphic? Remember when he grabs his head and he's like that?
It's one of those things, man, where they go and they
go,
they go, man.
they go. Like, hey, we're gonna definitely show you.
So, and again, I believe Dynamite did a 6:45 or something like that, or 7 something. Hold on a minute. Let me see exactly here. I got to pull out my handy dandy notebook. Let's see here. The Rampage. No, we don't want to do Rampage. We know Rampage is not looking good. So we already know those are not going to be good.
Yeah, those are definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not good.
But while you're looking for that,
here we go. Dynamite.
Okay, you got it. Okay, good. Because I wanted to say I'm not happy with AEW making.
I lied. They did a 688.
It was still crap.
But the MJF part was the lowest part of the show. The Daniel Garcia main event. Wow. Let me tell you something.
Talk to me.
Here's where, okay, so you start the show from the, again, because this was July 3rd, so they had the Big Bang Theory leading them in, so it wasn't, a movie, so they had it let in good. They started 7:33.
Okay.
By the second segment, they had already lost down to 680. Mark Briscoe brought him back up to 715.
Really? Mark Briscoe?
Yes. Then that was also during the Willow Nightingale Chris Statlander match.
Okay.
By the end of that match, they were back down to 711. The 9 o'clock hour hits 721 for the Mercedes Moné live angle with Britt Baker. Then it dropped down to 647 for the Shibata Joe hook against the Learning Tree.
Oh, Learning Tree, so good.
Jeff Jarrett with Hangman Page shot back up to 680. The conclusion of that match dropped down to 655. And the Will Ospreay Daniel Garcia post match with MJF, the lowest rating on the show at 647 on the overrun.
Wow. And just letting you know, Canada and Argentina is already playing.
They're already playing?
I told you, it starts at 8.
That's not the right game. They're showing you some kind of.
But it's okay. I have it here on my phone. So
all right. You let me know.
I'll be watching. I can still
Great
go
North.
I'll be watching the game at the same time while we're talking.
Yes.
I'm shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I am shocked. That also goes to show you that people are not being invested on.
They're not invested in it, man. They're not invested. They'll tune in when they. Oh, Mercedes Moné at night. Okay, boom. I tune in.
Well,
it's over. I tune out.
What I was gonna tell you is I'm upset that they made MJF again the scumbag. I don't like that. I liked him better as like when the people can cheer for him. Like
I
when
don't understand why they don't toe the line with him.
Yeah, I was pissed because when I saw Collision, I was like, God.
And again, I get it. There's going to never be another Stone Cold, but MJF can toe that line, man. Let the fans decide if they hate him, if they like him.
Correct.
Let him do his things. Like that's where I think they look. If he would have cost, out of everything, he trips Daniel Garcia when he's about to win. He stumbles into Ospreay's finish, and then at the end, MJF lays out Ospreay and leaves up the ramp. Kind of like his, like a little scumbag-ish type stuff, but you haven't turned him heel. Like there's no coming back from beating the blood out of a man. Like you beat Daniel Garcia down to where he was taken out on a stretcher. You tombstone pile drivered him from the second rope. Like, you have said, okay, the scumbag is back. You haven't allowed the fans, and again, the fans are going to be invested in MJF either way. But I think they should have towed the line more to be whether you like him or you hate him, just like what Stone Cold was. That's what made Stone Cold and The Rock so good, is fans liked them and fans hated them. And then they started going, well, I like The Rock better than Stone Cold. And then now you had the ones that hated him, the one that liked him, and then also the Rock fans and the Stone Cold fans. And it brings electricity. Now, to me, you have made MJF enemy number one. And Will Ospreay now has got to be that baby face.
Well, I think where they're going with this is obviously it's going to be MJF versus Will Ospreay at All In.
All In.
And I think the reason they did the whole Danny Garcia got knocked out because he's going to be out for some time, and then he'll come back for All Out and then challenge MJF. That's probably what they're going to go
his
with.
contract is coming up. He has not signed a new one, but it is expected that he will sign a new one. So I'm wondering if this was kind of a way of, okay, we'll take you off TV. We talk about your extension. If you do sign back with us, we can bring you back in this role. You know what I'm saying? He's coming back to fight MJF, which, again, I feel like he was just pushed there. Again, we talked about it too, about, they did the same thing with Dustin when Cody was hot during WrestleMania time. It was like, okay, Dustin gets a title shot. And then what happened after that? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, strike while the iron's hot. We're in Buffalo. Who's the guy from Buffalo? Oh, Daniel Garcia. Hey, we're going to make you the king tonight. And then next week, we're going to take it all away from you and put you in a hospital.
It's dumb. And like what you just said, let the fans choose, man, because if you looked at Collision, which a lot of people probably didn't, but if you look at Collision, when he came out to make the announcement and all that stuff, he was already going back to like taking shots at the crowd saying, hey, when I was out, you guys started cheering for Samoa Joe and you were proud of Samoa Joe, even though I was out. So I felt like you guys like had betrayed me and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, the fans love you, dude. Why go that route again? Like, dude, you could be our scumbag and still be a baby, like you could still be somebody you cheer for, like the great analogy you just said of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let the fans choose. Like Stone Cold could be a bad guy and Stone Cold could be a good guy, but let the fans choose. That his character is, so borderline that it's not a big deal.
I remember WWE messed up when they turned Stone Cold heel that last time.
And
at WrestleMania, when he took the chair and just started beating the crap out of The Rock.
I think what's gonna happen is MJF is gonna lose a lot of fans now because people are not gonna be tuned in again. Because I liked MJF. I like the cool scumbag MJF one. I like that one. That's why I go
back to one thing that we talked about earlier. This is where the difference between WWE and AEW is. You're telling me you couldn't have slow walked this MJF turn for weeks with little things, little subtleties?
That's a good point.
Instead, no, give it to them all. Give it to them all. Give it to them all. Yes. And now what?
But
where do you go from here? Like, what? He's going to fight. Ultimately, look, this is what I ultimately feel is going to happen. I believe it's going to be. They've kind of got me thinking on this one, but I believe it. I know the plan originally was Bryan Danielson versus Swerve at All In and Ospreay versus MJF at All In. The two winners meet at All Out.
Mm.
But here's the question I have for you now. If MJF beats Will Ospreay, does he become the international champion?
That's funny, man. I don't know if Will.
Like this is where I feel like
I don't think MJF is going to win.
MJF be that scumbag. Will Ospreay, look, if MJF would have tripped his leg or held his leg down and Daniel Garcia gets the pin, now you put the title on Daniel Garcia. Listen what I'm saying before everybody jumps on my throat. But now you've set up MJF versus Will Ospreay with no title.
Doesn't hurt either one of them.
Doesn't hurt either one because MJF just cost Will Ospreay. Yes, Will Ospreay lost at the pay-per-view, but it's not like Daniel Garcia went out there and pinned you clean. And now you've started showing a little bit more of the scumbag MJF instead of giving it 360-degree heat.
But the problem too is Tony Khan doesn't want Will Ospreay to lose all the time. That's why if you put MJF versus Will Ospreay, I honestly feel Will Ospreay is going to win that match. I don't see MJF winning.
Well, then what you did with MJF is stupid. If all you're trying to do is get back to Will Ospreay against Swerve Strickland for a second time at All Out.
Well, I think Finn Sammy makes a very logic point. MJF turn reeks of desperation, and I agree.
But see, I agree and I disagree with it just for this fact. If you keep MJF as a face, you have an opportunity for more fans.
Facts.
So
peace out, EA minutes.
I feel like you've hurt yourself, as you're saying. Maybe it's a desperate move because now they're trying to get that heel that they don't have. Although they brought back Hangman Page, and listen, I'm very interested to see what they do with the dark side of Hangman, and that's the problem I have too. Is I don't know that Bryan Danielson wins anymore. The way they're going, it looks like it's going to be Hangman Page. Because if you're doing all this and now Hangman Page loses to Bryan Danielson, what have you done? Like the Jeff Jarrett thing, and I get what they're trying to do with Jeff Jarrett is he was Owen's friend. He knew Owen better than anybody in AEW. He's kind of telling the story of Owen and this and that, but like it goes back to my thing where I say with AEW, they've tried to start telling stories. I just don't know if they're telling good stories.
And look, man, I mean, I know Jeff Jarrett has some type of history with Owen Hart, but why are you like doing
But they did get people invested in him. People were invested in the Jeff Jarrett, but then you bring out Adam Page, and Adam Page just destroys him.
But why? Like, look, man, with all due respect, but Jeff Jarrett, that's an old timer, bro. Like, why am I gonna invest time on him? Like, he's it's like
I agree. You did all of this promo, 3-minute promo of Jeff Jarrett talking about him and Owen Hart so that you could re-debut Adam Page to beat the crap out of him. You put all of that baby face, like, oh, he's going to do it for Owen so that Hangman Adam Page could get the heat by beating him.
And that's this is the other thing. If you're gonna bring like a dark side of Hangman Page, they changed the song and everything. It's like more darker.
Yeah, but they can put flames on his tights. Like, just put them all black. He's a cowboy, Johnny Cash, all black. Come on, man.
But you do all this, and then he's not in with the Young Bucks, which I thought that was the main reason why they brought him in the first place.
When I saw that video on the pay-per-view, I was like,
I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it. If you find it or somewhere on X,
I'll try to find it and send it to you. Because
was trying to look for
it's him sitting there and they're taking the crib apart and they're carrying everything out of his house. And at the end, it's him pouring a drink by himself in a room with no furniture, and he's watching the Young Bucks talk on a microphone, and it's kind of going through the stuff of AEW. So then when you were like, oh, the thing will be, I was like, man, I don't know. And sure enough, it was. And then it was like, oh, we want you to be our fifth partner. And then it was like, no, I'm only here for Swerve.
Yeah.
Basically. Like, I'm back for Swerve. That's it.
He looks like a lost soul right now.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because I want to be invested on, MJF. I want to be invested on Hangman Page's return. I mean, for the love of God, they brought in Marco Stunt on Collision the other day. And I was like, oh, that's cool. They brought him because they were in hometown. I guess it was his
Jurassic
hometown.
Express and stuff.
And then he fought against Jack Perry. That was cool for a split second, and then we're done. We're done. It was just that one off, and you're good to go. So
well, they did do a thing at the back. Luchasaurus, he's being interviewed, and Luchasaurus walks up to him and just goes, and walked away. And Marco just smiled. So you know what might end up happening? And listen, man, little things make me smile and laugh and things like that. Why not bring Marco out to be the one to bring Luchasaurus back to get him away from Christian Cage?
Yeah, because Luchasaurus has kind of calmed down. And did you see the heat that is going on right now between Luchasaurus, Christian Cage, and
the Golden Bullet Club?
Yeah, against the Golden Bullet. Yeah, like where did that arise from? Where did that come from? It's just that's why you don't get ratings, because it's like you're not invested.
The stuff together, man. And people
the only ones that are like the only ones that make sense is Timeless Tony Storm. That one's very good, and they've been doing a very good job. But again, I don't know if that's something that you got to give Tony Khan credit for, or if that's something that just Timeless Tony Storm has built on her own, and she's given that information.
Everybody has bought into that character, and she does it so well. Like, you have to give Tony Khan credit for allowing Tony Storm to be. I mean, look, when she first went titty slaps on air, I was like, oh my goodness. Man, this is like tits out, head up. It's like, hey, okay. It's just like little things you allow it. And what's interesting to me is when I watched the Who Killed WCW, and I think back, TNT wouldn't have allowed that back then.
No.
Now they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, did they learn from the things? Because that's what ended up killing, kind of really what killed WCW, because it was like, hey, now they went PG because they wouldn't allow them to do anything, the practices and whatever the hell they were called.
Yeah.
So, it's just like, and then, what Tony Storm has done with that, and Mariah May as well. But now my whole thing is, and as I said, is I think that comes to an end at All In.
And then what's going to happen with Timeless Tony Storm after that? Because if she loses to Mariah May, let's say she's the winner, I'm assuming she's going to win, and it's Timeless Tony Storm versus Mariah May at either All Out or All In. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be in All In. Yeah, because All Out is the one in England. In the
All In is in England.
Okay, so then I think I think it's going to be in the All Out then. My bad. So then, but after that, if Timeless Tony Storm beats Mariah May, or if Mariah May actually beats Timeless Tony, what happens to Timeless Tony? You feel me? Like, does that character die?
No, the character does not die. Why? Because this whole thing is a movie, right? What always happens in a movie? You have the hero, right? They're always doing good. Then what happens? They get fooled and tricked, and the villain comes through. Mariah May wins the title, takes the title away from Timeless Tony Storm. Now the second part of the movie starts. Timeless Tony Storm's got to rebuild herself. Clubber Lang just knocked out Rocky. What happens? Apollo Creed comes in and fixes up Rocky, right? So I think you're going to see somebody, I don't know who, possibly somebody, come in and rebuild Tony Storm, because she's going to be, after she loses, and it might be even Shirakawa. Imagine that. If Mina Shirakawa leaves kind of Mariah May and goes Tony Storm, and that's the one that builds Tony Storm back up to beat Mariah May.
That is possible.
Storytelling, baby.
That means that none of that will happen.
None of it's going to happen. None of it's going to happen.
That definitely
Mariah May is going to lose.
Yeah, either Mariah May is going to lose or Tony Storm loses, and then all of a sudden you see Tony Storm's character change completely to something else.
Yeah. Or that match doesn't even happen. They'll do that match on a Dynamite, and they'll put something else on.
That makes more sense. They won't do it in All In or All Out. They'll do it on a regular Dynamite, baby. That's what AEW does.
Well, and again, man, I can't fault AEW. Look, they believe in what they believe in, and they believe, hey, it's super match after super match after super match, which would work if you ran weekly pay-per-view shows. But when you run episodic TV, people are not going to tune in unless you can keep their interest.
Just an update. Argentina just scored.
All right. Well, that's the first of many.
Yeah, I actually have.
By the way, Collision did a whopping 306 this Saturday. Damn. That's going great. Let me tell you, that's going great. And then for those that say, wait a minute, ratings don't matter. Well, MJF cut a tirade of a promo.
He did.
And says, Will Ospreay doesn't know business. And if you want to do ratings now, get down here to the ring. So do ratings matter? Or do ratings not matter?
And then not only that, but he cuts that promo, and now you bring up this whole thing that the lowest point was when they were having that fight in Dynamite. What in the world is going on?
On Collision, though, that 382 was the MJF promo was the highest. And then it just dropped considerably from there.
Damn, it's so bad.
With the low.
Well, I will tell you this. I was watching Collision, and they had Claudio Castagnoli. He fought some guy. I have never heard of him, but he has like this huge mask, and he fights with
the Beast Mortos. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy fights with the mask the whole time.
Before he went to AEW. Yeah, he always fights with that big bull mask.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, how can he breathe with that mask on?
Yeah, he's been in MLW, and I believe it was Ring of Honor before AEW bought Ring of Honor. So I think that contract came with that when they purchased Ring of Honor. Because I think he worked over there. He did under a different name. I forgot what his name was then.
But man, he fought with that mask. I was like, man, I don't know how that guy's not breathing really hard underneath that mask.
And also, Rio was injured on a dive to the outside. She fractured her arm, so she'll be out for a while.
You know what's crazy about Rio in that match was that when Rio was wrestling in that match, she didn't make any type of signal of her arm being messed up until she did that I guess her like a flip move where she was able to get the 1, 2, 3, and then she grabbed her elbow and she was like, "Oh man, I'm in pain." And then that's when they asked her, I was like, "Are you okay?" and stuff like that. And then I was like, I know something's wrong with her because obviously she was like hurting really bad.
It's odd, man, because they show when she goes to the outside, she lands, and like it was almost like the Eddie Guerrero move, where if you look or pick up her arm kind of drops down. It just kind of, and then she kind of picks it up.
Oh, and I mean, kudos to her because she still kept going, and it didn't look bad at all, like throughout the remainder of the match. So I was impressed.
All right, and Blood and Guts also, man. And this is the one thing, and look, man, I know, look, I love the matches they put together, pay-per-view wise and everything else, but the stories in AEW, I'm a guy that likes storytelling. I like to be entertained. And you introduce this Blood and Guts, and you've got 4 people on Team Elite. They're looking for a 5th, which they thought they had, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're like you have Tony Schiavone come on the air during a match and say, tonight we'll find out the first member of Team AEW. I'm like, oh, cool, good stuff. And then all of a sudden, Mark Briscoe's music hits when you come back from break, and he comes out and he says, I officially throw myself on Team AEW. What?
Well, I mean, they got ratings during that portion. Maybe the fans agreed. I don't know.
Hold on a minute. Let me see how much the ratings went up that night.
The Ring of Honor representing AEW.
But it's not only that. It's like they did the same thing when they did the other match. It was, let's see here. Hold on. Mark Briscoe. Yes. Oh, no. The live promo was when it dropped the most from 730 to 680. But then the match, oh no, they jumped them at the end, and that picked up a little bit. But like, look, I have nothing against Mark Briscoe, man. And I love the fact that I know he's going to get thrown around, and there's going to be collisions and falling off ladders and going through tables. But man, if you're going to do a Team AEW, do a damn Team AEW. I'm just tired of all of this, like, I'm tired,
this is the problem, Sean. Team AEW is actually the Young Bucks, who are the heel in this story. Cody Rhodes, who's no longer in AEW, and this guy,
Kenny Omega's in the hospital.
Kenny Omega is hurt. So
I get that, but why
AEW.
can't you look? You're faces of AEW right now. Again, this is where I go back to storytelling. What if you slow walked MJF as the scumbag, but Tony Khan comes out and is like, "Looks, Swerve, you've got to be on Team AEW. Will Ospreay, you're gonna have to find a way to coexist." And then we have to find other, but an MJF also has to coexist as Team AEW. Make your Swerve then, no pun intended. But then, you slow walk it all the way up till then, and then have MJF turn on Ospreay and all them during this match and just leave.
Well, the thing is that they don't even
because then again, he's not killing somebody and taking everybody's blood. He just leaves and it's like a scumbag move. You cheer him or you hate him, depending on what you want to do.
Well, didn't Pac do that? I think Pac did that once too, in one of the Blood and Guts. I think it was Pac who walked out on Team A. I think Team AEW at one point in time.
It's just like
he just walked out. But you're right. You're right about that. But I mean, again, like we were talking about this off the air the other day. Is like, look at the disrespect that they did to Swerve on the flyer.
Yeah, they did fix it though, by the way.
Yeah, because Bully Ray and all of us started realizing, hey man, like for the love of God, like.
And those that don't know, AEW sends out a flyer and it says the international champion Will Ospreay will be on the show. I forgot who was the other champion they introduced. They said
Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, FTW champion Chris Jericho, women's champion, TBS champion Mercedes Moné.
And
also
we'll hear
talking Swerve Strickland.
And we'll hear from Swerve Strickland. And it's funny because the funny thing about that is that you sent me that flyer and you told me what is wrong with that flyer. And I'm looking at the flyer and I'm like, wait, hold on. Like everybody has their title name except, and I had not seen.
Yeah, that's you didn't see. I saw when he said.
So then when you said it, and I was staring at it, I was like, wait, how come Swerve doesn't have a title saying heavyweight champion, like heavyweight AEW heavyweight champion? But I mean, if you can't even get that right, where do you expect?
Little thing again, attention to details, man, and that's where I think a lot of the problems are with AEW. They see everything, match to match instead of being like, okay, what's our end game? And I think, look, they've done some things where, hey, what's our end game? And again, I thought the Adam Cole MJF thing was done beautifully. The injury to Adam Cole throws it off. I get that. You can't hold that against him. That was orchestrated good. Just bad execution on stepping off the ramp. And it changes things. And I get things happen like that. But like since then, I thought at Revolution, they started picking things back up.
Yep.
And it felt like they did for a couple weeks. And then it kind of like, okay, we got our couple stories that we'll go with. And then everything else is just like this week on Dynamite. They have a global 4-way match out of nowhere. It's Claudio against Kyle Fletcher, against Pac, against who's the one of the Japanese guys?
Shibata?
No. Damn it. Now I can't think of who it is, but it's like, what? Like, where does this make sense?
They just tend to really okay. So we got, hold on, I got it here. So it's Castagnoli and Kyle Fletcher, Pac and Ishii.
Oh, Ishii, that's who it was.
Global Gore 4-way.
Yeah.
I don't know where that match is coming from.
It just does. And then it's like, oh, we're going to hear from Swerve Strickland. Also, I think, who else is on the...
We're also going to hear from Will Ospreay.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Will Ospreay. And we're going to get a double crowning championship ceremony, I think, with Mercedes Moné again. Because she got interrupted, I guess, the last time, or the 12 balloons they put up in the corners for wasn't enough. So they're going to have another celebration for Mercedes Moné.
That the funny part about that is then that balloon ceremony, I thought they did it cool. I like the fact that they put the balloons there.
That Britt stayed there.
Yeah, that was good.
Look,
they're building that one right.
They don't do right. I think they do some things well. The problem is when they do it like bad, it's just like,
They just drop the ball from time to time with certain things.
And then they miss big sometimes. Like it's like, oof.
And then look, they put on here Chris Jericho versus Samoa Joe, but not any type of fight.
Oh,
It's
no,
a
no.
stampede, street
Stampede.
fight.
Yeah, street fight, buddy.
How are you gonna do that to the learning tree, bro? How are you gonna put
Oh no, that's gonna allow the learning tree to interfere and help out Jericho. But my question is this: why is it Jericho?
Yeah, don't push Jericho.
Put Big Bill in there in the street
Yeah,
fight, and then
it only helps him.
Yes, man. You don't need Jericho. Doesn't need to be defending the learning tree.
I
There's
agree.
people around him. It's like the Wyatt Six. You don't just get Bo Dallas. You don't just get this guy. You gotta earn your right to get the first the learning tree.
100%. You're right. Yeah,
Like
you're
he's
right.
thinking Brian Keith fed to him and Joe chokes him out in like 2 minutes or something. Then it steps up to Big Bill and it takes him a little longer. And then Jericho says, hey, you know what? You just beat Big Bill. You got your ass whooped. Will you get me right now? And then Jericho whips around and hits him with the spinning elbow and leaves Joe laying there or something. You know, like Jericho at this point should be an attraction, man. Like, I feel like it's like, dude, I don't need to see Jericho wrestle every week again.
You're right. You're right. And it makes perfect sense. Like, why is it Jericho? It should have been Big Bill. And you know, the cool thing about is that Big Bill, like you saw the thing I've been sending you, the learning tree, he's gained, like he's invested in it. I like it. I like what he does.
Yeah.
And you know, the crazy thing is they just don't capitalize on certain these things. It just keeps you like wondering, like,
because their thing is, oh, we got to give him the best match, Joe against Jericho. That's what everybody wants to see.
And I remember what I told you when they had the Forbidden Door. People are gonna go ahead and be like, and I haven't seen Forbidden Door's numbers. I wonder if Forbidden Door's numbers came out already. But I kept telling you, like, oh, what a great matchup between Swerve and Will Ospreay. And people just say, hey, it's a great matchup because these guys are doing their finishing moves like 4 or 5 times, and they're just
oh no, hold on, man. That's choreographed, man. Let me tell you something. That was just a big choreographed match there. That was a lot of athleticism, but that's not wrestling. That's what somebody said about Sol Ruka and Kalani Carter, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, some talking heads. That was just a bunch of, and then somebody put the match that they patterned it after, which, by the way, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. The opening was sequential to there, and Ricochet.
I did see that. I
shared it out and was like, "This is cool." And then they go on their show and was like, oh, "To me, it was just all choreographed. They're just great athletes, bro. It's pro fucking wrestling, man."
Mm-hmm.
Like, what isn't choreographed, bro? Like, you think somebody can get super kicked 26 times and get up? If a person in real karate or jiu-jitsu or whatever kicked you in the face, you're not going to kick back up. Sorry to tell you.
Yeah. Facts, man.
I mean, bro, like, to sit there and be like, oh, that match just court, dude, just show that you don't, just say, look, whatever they do, I don't care. Like, how are you going to sit there and crap on a match and just be like, oh, they're athletic, so they make it look good. It's choreographed. What freaking match isn't? It's pro wrestling.
That was in the 80s and early 90s, maybe when we all thought it was real. That would be
it was real because it looked like a real fight because there wasn't such athleticism.
Yeah.
It was 2 big guys that you might run into in a bar and you'd be like, I don't want to mess with that guy. And that was the intrigue of wrestling. And that's why, like, Vince McMahon was always like, bigger's better. They need to be bigger than anybody else because I don't want you to think that, oh, let me go fight that guy. No. Because when you do, they're going to slap the shit out of you.
And Cat for Life, the learning tree looks a lot like the Bloodline. Hell no, it's completely different. The learning tree is more of like them just trying to, teach the people.
The learning tree is Alpha Academy.
Yes.
Hyped up 1,000%.
I agree. That one.
Jericho is more of that. Hey guys, hello, how you doing? Hey, let me show you what I did. When I was on the camera, I took the camera and you got to face it right at the person. And then you hit the record. Look at that. I'm great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. He's more of like, hey, I'm teaching you. I'm showing you.
But he does it in such a sarcastic, freaking, I want to slap you in the face way.
Yeah, like an ass. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. And it's perfect. It's perfect. I love the reinvention of Jericho, but I don't want him to wrestle.
I love the rotten apple. The rotten apple is badass, man.
I love Jericho.
I love the rotten apple because the rotten apple is exactly what he is. A rotten apple. He's pissed all the time. I love it.
You disrespect Christian.
And then I like Big Bill because Big Bill's always the wise man. He's the one giving you pointers and helpful hints and trying to get your day to start on the right foot.
You know what he is? He's that freaking brown-nosed student that's always up the teacher's at like, look what I learned so much from the teacher today. That's what he's becoming.
You know what? That's a perfect analogy. You have the student that is like the one who disobeys and is always that, and then you have the student that's like, hey, the teacher's pet, right?
Yeah. Going like, hey, buddy, that's Big Bill.
Jericho's the teacher.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense.
It works so much. And like I get it when Brian Keith has the injury, then okay. But now that he's fine, like I don't need Jericho to wrestle. Jericho, if anything, the way it should happen in this match, Jericho gets introduced and is like, Samoa Joe, you don't deserve to fight me. Brian Keith, you're gonna jump in. It needs to be changed. It can't be Jericho. Like, no. Hook just pinned Jericho, and then you keep it going, and you throw a fireball in Hook's face.
Yeah.
You get Taz escorted out of the arena because the EVP say you're the new guy on commentary. Like, you don't need to be wrestling. That's the stuff you need to be doing, because when they finally get the hands on you, then it means something when they whoop your ass. Like Hook beating Jericho at the pay-per-view, I was like, good, this is over.
No.
I was wrong, but I was like, at least they made it make sense because he beat Jericho with his finisher. Then Jericho, being who he is, probably got the idea. It's like, hey, that's disrespectful to me. So now let's go with that angle. Now he's disrespecting me, so now I got to get him back. And then he talks about all the things, how you disrespect me, beat me my own move. Then he takes out Hook, and then he throws a fireball in his face. And now you've got a street fight with Joe and Jericho. That makes no sense. It should be one of the other two. And then Jericho can get involved, and then you take Joe out. Maybe you hurt his shoulder or something like that, but it shouldn't be against Jericho, is my only point. It's like Jericho should now be the attraction. Like, he's the champ. Like, you don't get a shot at the champ right away. You never do.
Facts. Is the truth. It's just bad timing, bad decision making, and then like they have this guy running it like the general manager, and he sucks as the general manager. I don't know why they have him as the general manager. The guy, the what is his name? The one that's for Tony Khan.
Christopher Daniels.
And he doesn't do a good job as a general manager. But
he's only in there for storyline reasons. That's the problem. Like, if they put him in there as an actual, like, hey, he's got to make decisions on everybody. Look at the matches he only comes out for. It's in the storylines with the Elite. The only time he comes out and makes decisions.
See, so they should involve him a little bit more.
Like, he's
not even a general manager then, because I could understand if AEW tried to do like an Adam Pearce.
They need to do that.
They should do that. Yes. I agree. They should, even though
like, you know what would have been perfect. Like, you had Mark Henry, you had some of these guys there. Put them in that role. I mean, I get it; they're not there anymore, but those would have been the guys. You know, even Jericho. To me, Jericho would be a hell of a GM.
Well, that's what Cap for Life was saying. He was like, he should be more of a Triple H type of guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think Jericho needs to be a GM. Yeah,
but Triple H becomes more of like the owner running the thing. I think like what Finn Sammy's saying, they need an authority figure, like what we're saying there. But like that's where, like, I honestly, for real, man, I saw Sting tweet out retweet Forbidden Door, and I was like, why wouldn't you bring back him?
Yeah, as like something outside
as authoritative figure. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, or, you know, again, but then again, now, like, he doesn't get involved. You need to have somebody, I think, that'll be more involved. I don't know who that person is, though. I don't know on that roster right now who you could make it be. And like,
You bring in Shane O'Mac, baby. Here comes the money.
There you go.
Money. And he is the new general manager for AEW. Shane O'Mac, baby.
Here, Shane O'Mac.
He doesn't have to go out there and wrestle because obviously he'll go tear his ACL or something. All he has to do is just be the GM.
He can come out and he'd be like, the name on the contract does say McMahon, but it says Shane McMahon.
There you go.
Just like he did in there. Rikishi and AEW or WWE is a wise man. Could have, but see, man, the more like Rikishi's been very heavily involved on social media. He took the picture with Paul Heyman at the at Sika's funeral, but I'm wondering if he doesn't end up becoming per se the wise man or some type of thing on Solo's side. Remember, that's Solo's father with Jimmy and Jey Uso. Like, you could end up working that in. I don't think a wise man role, but Rikishi could still be an integral part of, I don't know what they call like the elder tribes. I don't know what the elders are called in the culture or anything like that, but I could see him becoming something there, man, because now there's the I don't know if you guys have ever watched Women of Wrestling. Wow. The Women of Wrestling. I think AJ Lee was involved in that, or at the time, I forget what her actual name is, but they had the Tonga twins on there. And they've been posting a lot about WWE.
I just don't see WWE bringing in Rikishi. They could, if they wanted to bring him, they would have already brought him. And I think somebody had asked him before, and he said, "Yeah, he contemplated of it, but then he kind of like stayed away." So I don't see.
Yeah,
him.
I mean, it could throw a divide because again, now if he goes with Solo, he's going to be against Jimmy and Jay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it becomes like. Like, that's the thing about this whole thing with the bloodline, that it blurs the line on reality. Right? I mean, and if you watch the WrestleMania documentary,
I gotta watch it.
That's all they did. All they did was blur the lines on everything. Like, you're looking at it going, I know this isn't supposed to be happening like this, but you're watching it happen, you know, and the final boss. And I know everybody's seen the meme now when The Rock's sitting in the thing and he was like, and I said, do this, and we're off to the races. And Finn Sammy, it makes a good thing where he says he did it for The Rock. And I'm still waiting, by the way. I'm waiting for Solo Sikoa to say, I did it for The Rock, because that would be the longest storytelling angle ever. Yeah. If Rikishi did it for The Rock, and then his son many years later comes back and does it for The Rock. The only thing I hope is that he doesn't get pushed off the Hell in a Cell into the hay like Rikishi did.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking, and I know we're going to lose some fans again, but going back to the AEW.
Oh, Jesus. I tried to get away from it, guys. I tried to help you out. No, go ahead, man.
What about if you put Dustin Rhodes as like the GM? Would that work?
You know what? That would work. And then you got the Rhodes kind of angle there to where Cody was one of the original EVPs. You could blur a little bit of the lines there, work it that way. That would not be a bad idea, actually.
I'm just thinking of like somebody who's been in AEW for a while.
And he can still get physical. That's the other part about this is it needs to be somebody like, because again, Adam Pearce, if you watch at the end, he tries to physically push it and he takes the elbow. I think you need that. You need that like person that can get involved.
Yeah, because Dick Aldis does it too.
He's got to pick up people and body slam them and everything else. But he needs to be able to get involved to where, you know, it makes sense. Like, oh, this guy's an authority figure. It's not just, you're going to do it because Tony Khan gave me a title. No, you know, and I think Dustin would be a perfect actually for that, which is why it'll never happen. They will give it to Leo Rush. Leo Rush will be the authority figure.
Randomly. That's crazy, bro. But yeah, man. I mean, I was just thinking about it when we were talking. I was like, man,
because I was trying to think. I was like, Jake the Snake in a way, but then I think that's a little bit too, like he's better on that Arn Anderson style on the sideline, throw a clothesline every once in a while, trip somebody, you get to see it every once in a while. Whereas I think with the authority figure, again, I like the Christopher Daniels role if they expanded it. It seems like it's just a storyline for the Elite. Like every time the Elite does something, then he comes out to be like, not so fast, my friend. We're going to do this because Tony Khan said so. And I still think like Tony Khan, if you want to change some shit, buddy, change your look, throw on some leather or something, man, slick the hair back. Go heel, TK.
Yeah, I'll never do that.
Heel. In this blood and guts match, if you got any huevos in you, cost Team AEW the match, team up with the Elite.
That is so true. He has here we go again, where we had all this built up before, and now.
But again, this is where we talk ourselves into stories that they don't tell, but we feel like you should do this.
Or something similar, or something.
Because this is what,
but this is different.
This though is to me is what they as a whole should be talking about more than just being like, "Hey, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. It's a hell of a match."
Yeah,
it is a hell of a match, but let's give them a reason to get to where they're going to get to, other than that. Hey, they got it passed,
and not only that, but you're also making their brand even bigger, because now a lot of fans know who MJF, a lot of fans know who Will Ospreay are. But if you're able to build a story and get more fans invested on it, they're gonna blow up to the point where you're like, man, like
it's what they did with Darby and Orange Cassidy when they first started AEW. I've told this story a couple times. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna believe in this damn guy that wears sunglasses and denim and taps guys on an ankle. Then he got in the feud with Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho built him up, and they did all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I got it. Same with Darby Allin. I'm like, yeah, great. This guy throws himself through all these buildings and everything else. Then he got in the feud with Cody, and they went back and forth, and Darby didn't win any of those matches. But it built him up to where it's like, okay, he's viable. And that's what you got to do, is make him seem viable to where people can invest a little bit into him. But then also the problem too that they run into, the Orange Cassidy thing is great, but it does run its course. You can't be the champion for 197 appearances in a row before it runs its course, man. Like, you have to know when, at least take the belt from them, have them chase it again, which they did at one point, but then they put it back on them again for another 100 days or 100 appearances. So it's like, man.
And then they split them up. They now you don't have, I don't think, the feud anymore with
No, they put him with the conglomeration, him, Mark Briscoe, and Kyle O'Reilly. They should be with the Wyatt Six because nobody wants them.
No, and then you saw Will Ospreay going ahead and hugging Don Callis and saying, "Hey, I want to do this on my own." I don't remember if that was this past Dynamite.
No, that was this past Dynamite because Don Callis said, "Hey, I'll do it. I'll do this favor for you. But down the road, if I need a favor." And he said, "Okay."
And then he tells
Kyle Fletcher, "Let's go." And Kyle, and he shook his head at Kyle.
But they don't develop more from there. Like, okay.
No, and like Trent Barrett has been this mad thing, and he's never done anything.
Nothing.
Like, what this dude, like, oh, I can't stand Will Ospreay. Can't stand Will Ospreay. Go away. Okay. All right.
Which makes no sense. I mean, it's all over the place, but that's why they're getting the ratings that they're getting, man. It just sucks because at the end of the day,
it's just tough to follow, man.
It's gonna cost them in the end of the day. Watch. And I understand Tony Khan has a lot of money, but
look at
can't be running a bit.
Five guys you've signed. I gotta believe you're paying all of them over $3 million a year,
and you can't keep paying and not making a profit.
Yeah, I mean, you can write off so much, but I don't know how much. Again, I've never had the money they've had or the businesses they've had to where I know, but like they said, I mean, and again, if you've watched Who Killed WCW, they said a lot of times that WCW, even when they started making money, they were taking the profits from WCW and putting in other departments to make sure WCW didn't turn a profit, because then they could write it off.
Yep.
So again, how much is, God damn, Chad's on another cruise? This freaking guy, man. What does he live with the mermaids?
Chad, man, that's intense, man. Chad going all day. And the other thing is, if you guys didn't watch Who Killed WCW, that's a really good documentary. The issue there, though, was that the owner of WCW, who was the owner of WCW at that time? Ted Turner. So he was invested on like wrestling. But once
Ted Turner owned Turner Sports, which owned TBS and TNT at the time. Then they merged with AOL and became Time Warner. But in the process of the sale, Ted Turner only ended up with 45%. AOL ended up with 55%. So they ran the merger, which threw Ted Turner out of control of WCW.
There you go. But so
and then nobody else wanted wrestling. So
and then also in a way, downfall was that there was just no, they were losing their, they wanted to get them rid of out of TNT, right? Like they wanted to get them out of there. So then after you lose your network television rights,
there's no,
where do you go?
Well, the thing was, Eric Bischoff was minutes or hours away from buying WCW. He had people lined up. They were Vegas guys. They were going to film it. They had a location already.
Yes, true.
And then hours before, he gets the call saying it's done. And he's like, it's done? Well, congratulations. Welcome to the wrestling business. The guy said, no, it's done. We're not selling. We're not buying. They took TNT off of the table. And without that TV time, it went from a $40 million deal to what WCW ended up paying, which was about $4 million.
You mean what WWE ended up paying?
WWE paid, I'm sorry, about $4 million.
But they also spoke a little bit about how that was like set up that way to screw WCW.
A lot of people believe that, but also when you look at it, what was there to the library? That's it. That's all they had.
Yeah, because a lot of the wrestlers.
Because not only that, you were buying contracts, so you're buying debt.
And you remember,
you're not buying the big debt, but you're still buying again, remember, they kind of spoke about it. They called everybody in, and Booker T kind of talked about it. He's like, they said to me, you can finish out your contract. We'll pay you 50 cents on the dollar, which means basically they're cutting everybody's contract in half, and you can come wrestle for WWE. Some of them took the buyout. Some of them stayed. Well, again, some of them were under other contracts from other companies, not WCW. The ones under WCW either got brought to WWE or paid out. Then you had your Hogan, Nash, Hall that were all paid. Goldberg, all those guys were paid by the other part of the company, and they stayed home until their contracts ran out and got all their money.
Yeah. And then there was a scene where Booker T goes and says, I think he was fighting Scott Steiner, I think it was.
That was on the last Nitro.
And then I remember Scott Steiner and Booker T, they were like, look, we're pretty much having our tryouts for WWE. And so let's go out there and give them a show. That way we could get signed in WWE and have a job.
Yep.
So it was a really good documentary. It tells you all the stuff about like how they hated Goldberg because Goldberg used to go hard at, like how he ruined Bret Hart's career.
Yeah. The guy didn't know any better.
If you reminded me that when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about Rhino at the same time because Rhino also has not Rhino. Yeah, is it Rhino? No, it's not Rhino. The other guy. What's his name? It's not Rhino.
Gilbert?
Huh?
Gilbert?
The one that has the one that I mentioned a couple times that I want him to be at AEW. The one that reposted my post one day. The hell is his name?
Oh, Ryback.
Ryback. There you go, Ryback. That's what it reminded me of. That when they were talking about that, it was reminding me of Ryback. That's what it was. I was like, oh, Ryback, bro. It's Ryback right
Bret
there.
Hart's not a big fan of good old Goldberg at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, but I mean, look, man, ultimately, look, when you give, if anything should be taught by WCW, it was if you give the nuts the asylum, sooner or later it's going to fall.
Facts.
And unfortunately, a little bit of history might be repeating itself, but this time there's a lot more money.
But you cannot, as a business person, I don't care how much money you have.
I remember what I want to tell you now.
I don't care how much money you have. You can't run a business without being profitable. And at one point in time, whether hopefully is either him, he makes that decision, or somebody in the inside will tell him, hey, man, it's time to cut it. It ain't working. You're losing too much money.
Well, it just depends on what they're paying for buildings, or buildings are paying them. Do they have corporate sponsors or TV deals? Again, they dropped Bleacher Report, I believe, and now they've got a whole bunch of like YouTube and everybody else now. So it depends what those deals are too as well. So there's other revenue coming in. Yes, ticket sales are not the greatest thing, but here's my idea for you. And this is what I thought with Tony Khan. What if he took Ring of Honor and AEW? Hear me out, because you know he's the owner of Fulham. And the reason they go to Wembley Stadium is because that's their big event, which other big events happen in the soccer world, I believe, in Wembley Stadium. What if they started doing relegations? You don't win enough, you go to Ring of Honor. Work your way back up.
That's not a bad idea.
Turn it into soccer, man. Like again, that's what his background is, man.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And you had your rankings, you had your wins and losses, which apparently went bye-bye again. I don't know.
Yeah.
They really haven't done anything with them or anything else like that. But again, just make it make sense sometimes, bro. That's the gist of everything. Like everybody knows what wrestling is. Don't try to pull it. Don't try to make it the best show. I get it. Some people like just watching matches. Then change your business model to be just weekly pay-per-views and sell it for $9.99 a week, like TNA did at the very beginning. When they first started, it was a weekly pay-per-view at the Nashville Auditorium or Nashville Fairgrounds, and they ran it for $9.99 every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. They did like basically a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that
$9.99, and
how
then
long does that last?
They did it for almost a year and a half before they got the Spike stuff and moved up into the TV.
Damn, but
I'm not saying they had, blockbuster sales and everything, but the one thing they did do is, R-Truth became their first champion at the time. At the time he was Ron Killings. They would bring in, at the time, let's see who showed up. Well, Dusty was a special guest. Like, they would bring people in, surprises every pay-per-view. They brought in Vince Russo the one time, and then Dusty feuded with Vince, and they blurred the lines of things that were happening. And then they brought in, right when they started going to Spike, they had brought in Road Dogg in them, and then it went over to the TV. And then that's when they became VKM, which was him and Billy Gunn. They became VKM, which is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And they called out Shawn Michaels and Triple H and wanted to fight them. And that's when they were in their bad points of life. So, No Doubt says your last name is Dirty Boy. Don't try to French it up. What?
I don't know what that means.
What did I do? What am here? No, but you can run a passion project without making money.
That was when he was saying, when I was saying that
Boy.
Tony Khan wanted running a show and keeps running a show.
Oh, Joe Dirt. Oh, jeez. Okay, now that when you said a Joe Dirt line, I'm sorry, man. I wasn't thinking Joe Dirt when you said that. I got it now. Okay, your name's Dirt. I know. I got you now. I'm sorry. I was not thinking Joe Dirt. I'm like, what the hell are we talking about where we said Dirt?
Yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get it either. That's why
dirty money. Tony counted dirty money. All right, Frankie, let them know where they can get with you, man.
You guys could always reach me at Frankie Frezko, my YouTube channel, and then obviously on social media, it's under Frezko Music. I'm gonna change the Powerhouse Frankie back to Frezko Music, even though I think this is a powerhouse show. And you know how people like to comment about my powerhouse topic that happened a couple like 2 weeks, like last week, I think it was. But anyways, long story short, you follow me over there. Let me talk to you every Wednesday.
Let me talk to you as a powerhouse. Let me tell you that right now. That is a powerhouse. Buddy.
Let me talk to you. I don't think we're gonna do it tomorrow because obviously we got the Columbia game. So we won't be able to do
Columbia,
it.
yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
But
see.
Look at the bilingual Sean. I love it. But I'm gonna see if I could do it on Thursday. If we don't do it this week, then we'll obviously do it next week. We still have a lot of content. Plus, on top of that, man, Columbia makes it to the final.
Oh,
sir, I will.
Brooklyn, baby.
I will be at the final. I don't know where I'm getting the money from, but I will be there.
We'll fly a drone over the building. We'll put you in a little hot air balloon or something.
You know, the tickets went down, but because Argentina's winning, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back up.
Can I tell you something that happened? This is not breaking news, but just in case anybody that's in the Euros is thinking about anything. When's the Euros final?
Sunday.
Spain captain Alvaro Morata.
Alvaro Morata.
Wasn't even close on the first name either.
Okay.
He suffers a knock after security guard slammed into his leg while pursuing a fan on the field.
Oh, that's what happened. I
saw that on the pitch.
Yes, I did see that.
Not a field, it's a pitch, people. Come on, ESPN. Be better than that 4 letters.
Fox blocked that scene because they don't like showing fans when they run into the field. So they have that.
Yeah, apparently security guard took out the captain.
You want to know what's crazy? I don't know if you ever heard this story. There was a guy who does betting on the Hard Rock, right? And one of the Hard Rock things was like, does a fan run out to the field? So this guy paid a friend to go and run out to the field, and he bet like, I don't know, like 50,000 or 100,000. He bet a whole bunch of money. And then when the guy ran in the field, he doubled his money because obviously he was able to get all that. He had his friend do it, and he ended up paying his friend like $30,000-$40,000 to do it. And he pocketed a whole bunch of money.
Make it happen, Captain. That's what you do.
That's so slick, bro. People are so slick. It's funny. But yes, sir.
All right, you get all yours out?
Yes. So we'll see. We got the show this week. If not, we'll definitely have it next week. We'll be back to our regular schedule programming next week because we don't have the
after the Euros. Yeah, at least the soccer season starts.
No, not that because now we got to talk a little bit about Dolphins. We were talking a little bit about the Miami Heat. Some other stuff, you know. We got the Olympics around the corner, baby.
Yeah.
I hope they bring back the Olympics with Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg.
That'd be good.
That was so good. I'll never forget when they would talk about like different Olympic sporting events, and they had a horse, and the horse is like it's like I don't remember the name of the thing, but the horse is like what is the name of the damn thing called? Equestrian. There you go. So then Snoop Dogg is like, oh, look, the dog. Oh man, the horse is crip walking, bro. It's crip walking, and the horse was like doing like this stuff. That was so awesome good. I hope they bring that back. So
yeah, I love Snoop Dogg in the nature videos. I'll watch all those videos when he's on. Oh, dude. Especially that little, was it a mongoose with the snakes? Or what was that?
That was,
and they're all over. There's snakes everywhere.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
And you can follow me at Sean_Stanley11, XIG, Threads, TikTok, Stanley Media House Network on Facebook and YouTube. Again, under 200 subscribers to go. And then plus I need to get the watch hours. But appreciate everybody's support. If you got anybody that likes wrestling, please swing them over to my channel. Have them hit the subscribe button. Then swing them over to Frankie Frezko's YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. And when I do get to 1,000, I'm not even going to wait till I'd love to get to the 4,000 watch hours. That'll come. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, there will be a Squared Circle Digest package that will be sent out to one, the diehards that are with us every week, and two, to one of the subscribers, which will be picked on the little spinning wheel thing. I'll learn how to do it, and when it stops, that's who we'll get it.
Yeah, and on the Let Me Talk to You podcast, what I was thinking is, me and my brother, season ticket holder, show whenever I'm not gonna say every single time, but if we miss one game, like if my brother can't make it, like this year, there's one I'm not gonna be able to make it, so I don't know if he's gonna probably take a friend or anything like that. But if my brother can't make it, and I decide, what I'm thinking about doing is giving 2 free tickets to a Miami Dolphins season ticket.
Damn, dog! Gotta one up me.
Yeah,
Damn.
so
You will not be getting Dolphin tickets from me. I apologize. I don't live like that. You're gonna get like a shirt and a cup and a hat and some stickers. And
you're
stuff
not.
That, man. No Dolphin tickets coming in my stuff. If a Dolphin ticket does show up in it, don't go to the stadium and get it scanned. Okay, I'm telling you now.
Yeah, so I am thinking about that. Like, if my brother can't make it, instead of reselling them, I love my fans, and I love the fact that whoever
I'm
supports
about your co-host, the host,
and I know,
I don't get no tickets. No, I gotta go watch. I gotta subscribe too.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I keep tabs of who comes to the show every single time. So I always write down, like, okay, who's here today, and just keep tabs and all that stuff, because and that one, I would not give those tickets to just any random fan. It has to be fans that have been watching our show consistently, like the loyal ones. And maybe once we grow, hopefully we grow bigger and all that, then I'll do a random spin wheel. But like you were doing, like what you're saying, hey, eventually, like a little package of what we're doing. Yes, that would be something that I would do with some of the guys and gals who might be tuning.
You know what? Actually, I'll get you tickets to a football game. It'll be a kids' football game, but you'll get tickets to a football game. All right, I'll do that. How about that?
Well, I got tickets to the practice training facility.
And you're right, no doubt. Finn's game, I do have to work. Yes, unfortunately.
But
unfortunately, actually, let me rephrase that. Fortunately, I have to work. Yes.
We got the practice facility, bro. I got practice facility tickets.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be out there? Let me know when you're out there.
We're gonna do. I think we're gonna a couple. Like, I go out there to do the pictures and stuff because they don't give us enough to do. They don't allow us to use the content, so it doesn't. Dolphins get upset. Hey, boy, let me tell you something.
Yeah, but I definitely.
Finn, Sammy, no doubt. Chad on the water. Cap for life. Let's see. We had Terry in. We had EA Minutes, our third host. Who else did we have in? Karoon was in. I did not see that. Surprised Naya hasn't joined the bloodline. Karoon, thank you, my man. And I'm not surprised yet, but again, they're not done with this, and they keep throwing in the next surprise. So we'll see where that goes to. Let's see. I think that's about it. And my dad was in as well. Terry was in earlier. Appreciate you if you're still there. And that's about it, man. So Frankie Frezko, thank you for joining me this evening. As always, it was greatly appreciated. Go enjoy Argentina.
Wait, no. I'm not going to enjoy
tomorrow. Vamos Colombia.
Wait. Hold on. Here it is. Look at this. Right here, baby. Right here. Colombia all day. The MJF scarf, but Colombia vibes. Hold on. I got more stuff. Hold on. I got you right here. Right there. We got it. We're ready. We're ready for tomorrow, baby. Vamos, Colombia. Vamos.